Hello, I'm Shawn Kent Hayashi. In this video, you'll learn why coaching and employee development is a skill that I use daily in my work as an executive coach and a high-performing teams consultant. You'll also learn why it's an important skill that you'll want to develop to be a star performer, to grow to the next level, or to become a more inspiring leader. I help leaders and teams become high-performing together. My team has identified 25 competencies needed to lead collaborative, innovative, and resilient teams. Today, we're covering the competency of coaching and employee development. Let's dive in now. Coaching and employee development is facilitating, supporting, and contributing to the professional growth of others. It includes helping people build new skills and giving feedback on how they are developing along the way. Great coaching and employee development begins with clear, key accountabilities for the role. In other words, what are the outcomes we're aiming for by having someone in this specific role? When we have clear key accountabilities, then we can look to see where are the gaps between the expectations of the role and the person in the role. A professional development plan can be customized to an individual when we have clear expectations. In my book, Conversations for Creating Star Performers, I outline the specific steps in creating customized development plans. This always starts by creating what I call a job benchmark. A job benchmark includes the accountabilities and the communication style, the motivators, and the skills that will set someone up to be a great performer, a star performer in the role. I then go on to explain how to create a professional development plan to bridge that gap between the role and the person who's in the role. When we do this, the focus for coaching and employee development becomes clear. For example, let me share a scenario that played out in one of my client organizations recently. Imagine Kathy. She's a food scientist. She has deep product knowledge. She fully understands the product offering for the company where she works. Kathy applied for a new sales role that would use her deep background in food science and food manufacturing production. In the new role, Kathy would be calling on food scientists like herself who will appreciate her experience. However, Kathy does not have any training in account management and sales. The vice president of sales, Jack, where she works, values her so much that he's willing to coach her and provide the guidance and mentoring to get her skills developed in presentation delivery and account management so that she can become successful in the new sales role. Jack offered Kathy the new sales job with the understanding that she will be in a steep coaching and training learning curve for the first 6 months. Now, Jack, the new boss, will need to put on his coaching hat and help her to develop. To do this, Jack will need to identify where her competency level is in each of the different tasks that are important to the job. Competency levels include these 4. Think of it this way: unconsciously incompetent. When I'm at this level, I don't even know what I don't know. Consciously incompetent. Now I know I don't know. Consciously competent. This is where I'm aware and I really have to think about and focus on it while I'm doing it. And then finally, unconsciously competent. This is where we're able to do something confidently and competently without much thought. Let me give you an example. When you were born, you did not know how to tie your shoes. You were unconsciously incompetent. In other words, you had no clue how to tie your shoes, and you didn't even know you didn't know how to tie your shoes. Somewhere along the way, probably around 2 years old, you decided you were going to start tying your shoes. Have you ever seen a 2-year-old announce, "I'm tying my own shoes today"? But they don't know how. I watched as my son crumpled his shoelaces together and pulled his hands apart, thinking that they would automatically be tied. When we become consciously incompetent, that's when we realize, I don't know how to do this. And that can be a painful moment for some of us. And this is also when we begin to practice. So we start to say, cross one over, pull it through. So now we become consciously competent. We probably have a model, we're practicing and practicing over and over. Eventually, we become unconsciously competent. If you tied your shoes today, chances are you didn't even think about it. You might have been multitasking at the same time. Next, I will explain how the person doing the development or the coaching needs to adapt to each of these learning levels. Let's go back to Kathy and Jack for this example. For each of these 4 levels, Jack, the coach, will need to provide Kathy with a different type of conversation, support, experience. He will need to adapt to her level of learning for him to be a good coach. When she is unconsciously incompetent, in other words, when she doesn't even know what she doesn't know, he will need to tell her specifically what's expected. He'll need to make the decisions and perhaps even do the work so that she can see how he wants it done. Clearly defining the outcomes and how we get there is part of this stage in employee development. When Kathy is consciously incompetent, Jack will need to keep her focused on the outcomes and on how to do it. He may let her begin to do some of it while he's watching. He will review her work. Then he will point out what she's doing really well and what's not working so well, and to keep her focused so she can learn quickly. When Kathy is consciously competent, Jack will need to cheerlead, if you will, for her. He'll need to point out what she's doing well and be a sounding board for her as she makes some of the decisions. Jack is there with her at this stage more as a safety net so that Kathy doesn't fail. When Kathy is unconsciously competent, Jack can delegate the task and say, "Let me know if you bump into any obstacles that you may need my help getting through." At this stage, he can trust that Kathy knows what she's doing and Jack can go focus on other things. He doesn't need to play coach or be in the task or assignment with her at this stage. Let me share with you another example of employee development in action. Having been through coaching himself, one of my clients, Mark, learned how to people read, to discover people's talents. Mark made a point to get to know each person on his team and in his company. He discovered that one of the administrative assistants, Juanita, in the biotech company where he worked, was a recent college graduate with a degree in neuroscience. She wanted to put her degree to use. So Mark sat down to talk with Juanita about how she could do that. Juanita said she was interested in growing into a lab position. As a result, Mark found a way to carve out a co-op type position for Juanita, where she was able to work closely with a scientist. Then Mark eventually moved Juanita full-time over into the lab. Mark checked in with her supervisor and met with Juanita one-on-one periodically to mentor her and to encourage her participation in meetings. Juanita is now running experiments, and she recently stepped up to fill in an important gap when someone else left the company. Now she's permanently in the scientific role and she's loving it. Oh, by the way, Mark was recently promoted to be the Chief Scientific Officer in his biotech company because it's clear he's taking on broader leadership roles, like helping to develop high-performing teams. People who are well developed in this competency inspire confidence in others' ability to grow professionally, to identify and facilitate developmental opportunities. They also encourage initiative and improvement. They provide opportunities to practice new skills and measure growth. They give new and challenging work assignments. They acknowledge and praise improvements. They view mistakes as opportunities for learning. They understand the uniquenesses and the current skill level of each individual. Please let me know what additional videos you would like to see in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you found this to be useful. If you would like to understand where you are in each of these 25 competencies, reach out to us. We can provide guidance, direction, and accountability in learning new skills for yourself or your whole team. I'd be delighted to talk with you. Thanks for watching. To learn more about the Professional Development Group and subscribe to our newsletter, check out our website at theprofessionaldevelopmentgroup.com. Thanks for joining us today.